What's good, everybody? It's BBK Dragoon here with a tip video that I really hope hits home for some of you. Discouragement. More importantly, the emotion of not knowing what you did wrong. It's probably the most frustrating thing I've ever experienced in gaming. If you're trying to improve at whatever competitive game it may be, if you don't know what you're doing wrong, it can be so infuriating, discouraging. It can dismantle any motivation that you would have to play and trying to continue to improve. This topic stems from a lot of people over on the Destiny subreddit who just have really, those heart-wrenching posts saying, I've been playing PvP for months, I'm not seeing much benefit, I'm not getting better, I don't know what to do for whatever reason. I can watch a good player and I can think I'm understanding it, but when I get in game, I just crumble, I cave, I don't put it together, I play dumb, I know what I need to do, but I'm just not doing it. And seeing a lot of these posts over and over again, and I want to address that, I want to talk about that discouragement, that feeling of not knowing what to do, and how a new player, somebody who maybe doesn't have extensive experience with FPS games, can get over this emotion, can continue to improve, that kind of stuff. Before we go further, I want to offer sort of a framework or a reference. FPS games I'm very comfortable in because I've grown up with them. I've spent over 10 years playing FPS games. I started, a lot of time spent on the console playing Halo CE with friends or Halo 2 online, and I'd play split screen online with friends, so I'd literally have good players that I got to work with in a local setting that formed a good foundational basis. And over these last 10 years, I have learned, I've improved, I've gotten to watch a ton of gameplays, and although I'm very comfortable in the FPS game world, there's always still more to learn. But if you're a new player, you do have to understand there is a significant learning curve with multiplayer FPS games. If this is something that you're new to, you're going to be playing against a lot of people who have multiple years of experience playing PvP online. To give another reference to kind of hopefully hit home here, I play a couple of other competitive games. StarCraft 2 was one of them, and the other that I've kind of played off and on is Street Fighter. Street Fighter is a game that I've never gotten good at. I've put, a decent amount of time into, but I'm absolute trash at the game. Fighting games are something I've never grown up with. I've never had much experience with. I love them. I love watching them, but I suck. I completely suck. You guys, when I go on and I play matchmaking, I will go 1 in 10. I will lose game after game after game after game. And even though my head might know, I think I'm supposed to do this, I can't execute it. My execution sucks. The execution is the ability to put combos in and hit your timings basically on the right moment. And I suck at it. I've not put the practice and the time into those games. And it is unbelievably discouraging when I go and play Street Fighter. But I know I'm improving. Surely, just very little bits. I know when I'm getting on, as long as I'm making an active choice to try and learn from my mistakes, I am improving. But here's the thing with FPS games, okay? There is decision making. And decision making is really important. Where you go, when you engage, when you decide to disengage, positioning, all of those things matter a lot in a first-person shooter game. But what matters beyond that is execution. And execution in a first-person shooter game is your ability to move and shoot. And that means gunfighting. Gunfighting is a pivotal skill that can only be learned through practice, through repetition, through fighting enemies again and again and again. A lot of times when you see a new player, they maybe know where to go on the map. They know not to push into the enemy spawn unless there's a real intentional reason to do so. But you put them in a gunfight and their stick just goes all over the place. They have a really hard time with threat management and they lose gunfight after gunfight after gunfight. I've got the controller right here. Holding the controller, being able to move, jump, slide, reload, all of this stuff needs to be second nature. And all of the people you're playing, it has become second nature. How did it become second nature? Because they put the time into practicing to where it became second nature. In the same way you would practice a sport, in the same way you would practice a musical instrument, getting your mechanics down for shooting the enemy is the same way. It requires a ton of practice, and it comes from months and years of experience. And unfortunately, there is no way around this. There is no getting past the point that you need to be proficient enough on the sticks to gunfight effectively with the opponent. Doesn't mean your accuracy has to be cloud 9. Doesn't mean you have to hit every single shot in your bursts. But it does mean you can't get caught on walls. You can't swap the stick around like just a crazy man. You need to be able to get your stick in the ballpark and connect your shots on the opponent. Period. It's as simple as that. Anybody who's highly ranked in any FPS game has spent a ton of time practicing those basic shooting mechanics, and there's always room to improve them. Look at a basketball player. How many baskets does he shoot in practice over the years? Thousands and thousands and thousands. So that in the heat of the moment, it's second nature. He doesn't have to think about it. When the pressure is on, he takes that shot and he's prepared. He's shot that shot from that position 100,000 times before, so it's no big deal for him. The identical parallel is there for FPS games. And that emotion, I know when I've lost like 20 games of Street Fighter in a row, I wish there was some Street Fighter sensei behind me to just sort of like tap you on the head and be like, hey man, it's cool. You did this wrong, you did that wrong, and you did this wrong. But that doesn't really matter. My execution sucks in Street Fighter. I'm missing opportunities, and the times and places that I actually need to capitalize and punish the opponent, I'm not able to do so because I haven't put the time, effort, and practice in. And the same applies to Destiny or any other first-person shooting game. We don't have the ability to run drills in Destiny, which is unfortunate because we have no private matches. I think Rumble is a wonderful playlist to sit back and practice your 1v1 engagements. In Halo, we had this thing called the Octagon, and we would also 1v1 each other a lot. I'd 1v1 with more experienced players, ask questions, and they could help point out flaws in the gameplay. But at the very foundation of it all are your mechanics. It's how you move, it's how comfortable you are on the sticks, it's the accuracy of shooting downrange. If you don't have the time and practice in, you're consistently gonna be frustrated. So I hope this was an enjoyable video, and don't get discouraged. Honestly, everybody has gone through this grind before. Thanks. If you enjoyed the video, let me know with a like. We'll see you next time.